step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use every comment, hate that makes my fuel. Gather up my energy and boom, I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with, giving my blood so I am relentless.
This is a Keep Hammering Collective with Jody Cyr. Hey, we did not plan on doing this.
No, we didn't. Well, here we are.
And for those that don't know, Jody is like one of the best bow hunters I know.
Well, thank you.
Small town, Oregon, grind it out. Badass.
Well, I don't know about badass. I'm getting old, Cam.
Well, you've been doing it a long time. How long you been bow hunting?
Well, 35 years.
Nice. Yeah. So, I started in 89. You must have started right after that.
Probably right in that range. I know I rifle hunted when I was 12 for a year and then have been bow hunting since.
All right.
Yeah.
And out of Powers, Oregon.
Powers, Oregon.
Yeah. You were a football star there.
Played football, yep.
No,
true.
but then you went and played at Southern Oregon, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, had to be good.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, the pool's pretty small in those kind of towns. And
well, in those towns, but not at Southern Oregon. There were some studs that came through there.
Yeah, there's a lot of good players.
Yeah.
It's actually amazing watching it now, working in the school systems for the past, 23 years or whatever it's been, and coaching all that time. Kids are good now.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they better than back in the day?
I think they're better athletes. I don't think they're as good.
They're not
fundamentally.
tougher.
Yeah.
What about tougher?
Not even close.
Yeah. So Powers, and then so I've been going down there. We shared a hunt, a couple hunts, but we killed the ranch bull down there in 2010 together.
Is that when that was?
I think it was.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
15 years ago. Do you remember how that all came about?
Let's see. Well, I think you told me there's this giant bull, or how you tell me.
Well, I mean,
all I know is I think you said there's this giant Roosevelt, and I think you could probably get the opportunity to hunt it.
Yep.
Is that what it was?
That was kind of it. And then one of the guys I knew in Powers had access to that place and was starting a guide service.
Yeah, Ron.
And I don't think I was Ron's favorite person around that time because I kind of used to hunt out there. And I went to Ron and I said, hey, I could get Cam down here to hunt this bull and it would blow your guide business up. And he was like, no. Like, okay. What? And he's like, no, we're not going to do any archery hunts. Because initially it was just going to be a rifle thing.
Right.
And I said, Ron, you don't get it.
Yeah.
I think you should have this dude down here. And he finally came around and agreed to it. And then it was you and I and Kevin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And went down and...
So tell me about the ranch bull first. Or did you know about the bull?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That bull had been there for, I was probably aware of that bull for like 5 years before that. And how I became aware of that bull, obviously I grew up there, but there was a bunch of wild pigs running around.
Really?
Out in that Sixes
I didn't
country.
know that.
And I think at that time, was I the principal there at that time?
I thought so.
I think I was.
Yeah.
So after work, I probably spent like 50 evenings in a row trying to kill those pigs. And I spent every single day out in the woods. It was before I had kids.
Yeah.
And I ended up killing a couple of them, but I constantly just watched that ranch bull.
Oh.
And I think the year before you killed him, I picked up his shed, or either the year after. I don't remember the sequence of how that went, but
because Ron said you could hunt sheds there, go pick up
well, no,
antlers.
Ron didn't say I could hunt sheds there. The ranch manager said I could hunt sheds there.
Okay.
And that was a little point of contention for a while.
Yeah.
But it all worked out. I got to spend a lot of time on that place for a lot of years, and it was mind-blowing to me to go after pigs out there. That was super cool.
Oh, I bet.
'Cause
I didn't know if there was pigs there. I've never seen one.
I don't think there's many around anymore. I don't
The fallow deer are still like down on that Gaylord.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like a game park down there in places. It's
Yeah.
pretty interesting. But we used to go to California all the time to hunt pigs because it was cheap and we could drive there. And somehow they ended up in there.
Oh, gotcha.
There's some theories on how they ended up in there, but they did. So I thought, heck, man, I'm going to hunt the heck out of these things. And,
you can hunt every day.
They would go between Dements and Powers at the time, and then I think even over into the Eckley stuff that you would access through broadband. And heck, I piled them up in there for a couple of years. It was fun.
And so you would see. So tell me how it got the name the Ranch Bull.
I think that thing just, it was the king of that ranch for years.
Because people think, oh, Ranch Bull, like it's like on some high fence ranch or something like that. It's like, no.
Well, that's the furthest thing you could ever get from a high fence ranch. I don't know the exact acreage of it, 18,000 acres or something crazy.
Big.
But it's just reprod and timber and super steep and super thick, and you're going to work your guts out to kill bulls there. I used to try to call bulls off there all the time.
Yeah.
Which I was pretty successful at, actually. But that bull, he was scared of nothing. You remember the first time we heard that thing?
Yeah, I know. Frick, it's almost like you want to get behind a tree and be like, protect yourself.
You're scared, yeah. Like,
well, you got video of him in the road, didn't you? Before I killed him. Remember when he's in that road?
Yeah.
And he's just like a fighting bull?
Oh, yeah. He feared nothing. And the crazy thing is there were some giant bulls around. I mean, that same year, Warnock killed that great big bull on a governor's tag.
Yeah.
I think those bulls were smart enough to avoid each other. But, man, that ranch bull, he let nothing around him. Super smart bull. I felt like we got kind of lucky when we got him.
We did, so that hunt, okay, so you got 18,000 or whatever, however many thousand acres, you're going after one animal. Not the greatest odds. I mean, bull can be a lot of different places, a lot of thick timber, a lot of reprod, which you can never even see in. But we sort of, I don't know if we had a system, but we were kind of eliminating places. But then I think you kind of knew where he'd like to hang out. Murphy was one of those. Murphy Canyon was one of those places. But, Dements is another property that's there that we don't have permission on.
Correct.
And so you might have 18,000 acres. He goes over one cattle fence. You're not hunting him.
And when we were on him that day, he was literally, 400 yards from the line?
Yeah. But I remember that was we had been after him for a while. I mean, maybe 5 days.
Somewhere
is that what it was?
Probably.
And I remember it was the middle of the day, kind of like maybe around noon or something like that. And we were just chilling in Murphy, just kind of laying around, wondering where the elk are, heard a bugle.
Yep.
And we're like, was that the ranch bull?
Sure was.
Sounded like the ranch bull. Because he had this like just aggressive.
Super growly.
Yeah, and he was, by this time, so you knew of him for years, but by this time I think we were thinking he was 12 or 13 years old.
Yeah, I mean, did you ever have him aged?
No. I remember his body was pretty damn big.
Giant.
Yeah.
There's very few elk you would ever see that are that size. And, I mean, you've hunted Roosevelt a ton. I've hunted him a ton. I've probably seen two bulls in my life that are similar to him. And he would just thrash other bulls. I've watched him in spotting scopes 100 different times, just destroying anything that came near him. And I knew we could kill him because he had never been hunted with a bow.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were always rifle hunting him.
Yeah.
He left the herd. You know, I knew if we could get after him
during the rut,
he was rutting, he was in big trouble.
Yeah. And it still took us, and like, if I think back to that day, God, what a roller coaster. But me, you, and Kevin, so I've had Kevin on here before, and people
listened to that.
People have seen him, you know, because we've been elk hunting. He's been helping Ron down there guide these bow hunters now, and so me, you, and him. I think we had a big plan. I think you were filming, Kevin was calling, and I was shooting.
Yeah.
So we had this. We were in this little strip of meadow, timber on the edge. We thought, man, it'd be sick if he came out into the sun here.
Correct.
Good video.
Yeah.
And we could whack him right here. Kind of tight little opening, but a bull like that, he's not going to be coming out in the open.
Nope.
So I think we heard him coming in, and the wind was okay, but he stayed hugging in that in the tree line. And I could tell, and I'm sure we all could tell, he's not coming out.
Correct.
And so I saw flashes of just hide kind of back, little holes in the pretty thick timber right there. But then he stopped and there's a hole and I had hide and I'm like, I think that's his shoulder right there, 30 some yards. And it was a ranch bull. We'd been out, you know, so boom, hit him. Didn't know exactly where. Like I said, I thought I had the shoulder there, and I don't know if I did have the shoulder and made a poor shot, but point is I hit high and back on that first one, I believe. And so we were like not knowing, thinking he took off. And I just remember what this is like is like depending on where the bull is, you can't hear them for a long time.
Sure.
So we heard him bust off and then quiet. So, of course, what were we thinking?
We're super pumped. I mean, you're never pumped until you put your hands on those things, because those, you know, big mature Roosevelts are not typical elk. They have a will to live that surpasses anything that I've ever hunted, and so you're always kind of nervous. I felt good because you're very effective with your bow, and I did. You felt like it was a pretty good shot.
I thought it was at that time. Yeah.
So we kind of all got back together and we're like, yes. And about that time,
No, it was that came later. But first, so we're like, let's give him some time because I was hopeful, but not 100% sure. So we walked out. Ron, somehow we got a hold of Ron. He went and got us burgers.
Yeah,
you remember?
Yeah.
So we're like, let's give it a couple hours. I think we waited till 2.
Oh, that's right.
And so we were like, ate the burgers, and I'm like, okay, 2, let's sneak up in there, and hopefully he's dead right there.
Yeah.
And the ranch bull was like, I mean, I don't know. How many bulls have you killed?
Oh, man. Chase asked me that the other day. Somewhere in the 40s.
40s.
Yeah.
So but to me, and you can speak to it, it's never easy and it's never guaranteed. It's like, as you said, until you hold them, you don't know, but you want to be confident.
Totally.
So we're like, let's get in there, find blood. And if he's right there, man, it's a great day. So we get back in there, and I think we're in that timber, and it's not finding like a ton of blood. And we heard a kind of a bugle, and we're like looking at each other. It's like, it wasn't a ranch bull, was it?
Probably like a couple 100 yards above us.
Yeah.
Which is exactly where
he went. And we're like, it sounded, but that first one wasn't like you said when you heard the bugle, you were like, there's no doubt.
Yep.
That one didn't sound like it. And we're like, there's no way.
We thought it was probably a satellite.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he ripped off a ranch bull bugle. And we're like, oh my God, that fucker's still bugling like the ranch bull.
Yes.
Where did I hit him?
And we knew right there.
We knew it was him. He was alive.
Do you remember? I shouldn't say the best part about this. Probably the most tense part about this, because Ron was with us then.
Was he?
I believe so.
On that trail?
I think he did come in there with us, because I remember thinking, oh, geez.
I don't think he was.
You don't think so?
No, because what I remember is there was a clip I had where the camera was set up and we had it recording.
When you came back down.
Came back.
Yeah.
But he wasn't there.
No, he wasn't there then.
Oh, okay. But before that?
I thought, or maybe I'm wrong.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I remember his face just being like, are you kidding me?
Oh, when you bugled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were all like, you know, it's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and you go there that fast.
If a bull is bugling,
He's okay.
he's not going to be dying anytime soon. So I would like, which I've said many times over my bowhunting career, unfortunately, but I think I said, let me go clean this mess up.
Yep.
And I'm like, took off my boots, said, I'll be back.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was going to happen, but snuck up that elk trail. There's a skid road that came in, and then there was this old barbed wire fence up there, but I sneak up, and I don't know if he bugled again. Maybe he did give me a look, but I knew kind of where he bugled from. And I remember seeing there's some cows in there. And so I'm like, God, I don't want to spook any of them. So I'm taking my time, and I get up to the skid road up on top of the ridge, and I pop out, and I look around like this, and I look, and there's the ranch bull, and he's looking back at me. And I'm just like, I go back, and I'm like, oh my God, okay. He's like 25 yards away, quartering away. Full draw, lean back out, goosh, right, hit him back here. He takes off, and I hear that fence like squeak and stuff. So I'm like, oh, he hit the fence. I run up there, and that arrow actually did something to him, the quartering away one. And then I hit him again, like in the, I mean, it sounds terrible now, but in the back leg.
Yeah.
But he was like moving off through the meadow, and I went up over the ridge, and then he was down there, and I think I shot him again just to make sure, and then came back. And do you remember what I said on that video?
Ranch bull's dead, kids, or something.
That's what it was.
That
was it.
Yeah.
And we were just like so pumped.
Oh man,
so pumped.
You know, and truth is, Cam, that was that was before Big Roosevelt started getting killed.
Yeah.
It
seemed
a
like
300 class Roosevelt 15 years ago was very few and far between.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I had even seen one in that country. That's what was so cool about that bull is we were like, dude, this thing is huge.
Well, and so just for people, for reference, everybody knows a Boone and Crockett animal is a giant animal.
Absolutely.
And a Boone and Crockett, so how it works is Pope and Young for Roosevelt is down to 235, 240, something like that.
I think at that time it was 225.
225, okay.
Yeah.
So then a Boone and Crockett Roosevelt, which is generally for rifle hunting, a Boone and Crockett Roosevelt is 290.
Was it at that time?
Yeah, what's it now?
Okay. Well, I thought it was 275.
Oh.
And I could be very
I think
wrong.
it's 290. But anyway, to get something with your bow over Boone and Crockett threshold, over 290, and then to 300, that's giant.
What
for
did that
us,
finish out at?
it's like 300, I think is it 301 or something like
I
that?
don't remember, but it was big.
Yeah, or 302 or 3 maybe. But yeah, for us, it was the biggest thing we'd ever seen for Roosevelt.
Honestly, I had never seen one bigger at that time.
I hadn't either.
Yeah.
No, for sure. There's these guys here, the Dunsons, who used to have the world record of the number 4 bull. And I remember it was 316 and 312. And I had seen mounts of those up in Marcola. And I think the 316 was a world record. The 312 was number 4. And Robert Dunson killed the 316. And to me, I thought, well, that's world record. You're never killing one, probably even close, let alone, for sure not over, but probably not even close. So to kill a 300 was like, that's knocking on the, at that time, that's huge.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like we were probably the greatest elk hunting crew in the world at that time.
It felt like it. we were on a high.
For sure.
I mean, I felt like you could have thrown us 3 in anywhere. We will get you heard of a big bull? Where?
Let's do it.
Yeah. But
I still feel that way, Cam.
So do I, but we were supposed to be humble.
Yeah.
But no, that was, so, I mean, I wanted to, you said you're going to bring me up a bow to look at, and I'm glad you did, but I wanted to talk to you about elk hunting too, because I think that bull and that experience definitely was one of the most special of my life. to be after such a special animal with people, you and Kevin, who have had so much success, and people talk all the time about, oh, is it public, is it private, is this, how many, whatever. All I say is, if somebody's killed more than 20 bulls on public land, listen to whatever they say. Well, I don't care. I don't care what they say or how they did it, but they know something.
Yeah.
So both you and Kevin have killed more than 20 bulls on public land. And I felt like us hunting together, it was so special, just from Oregon, got it done so many times.
Totally.
I don't know.
It was special for me, for sure. Just, obviously hunting with you and bringing Kevin into that mix. Because Kevin and I's whole relationship was built around hunting. I mean, hell, we met in a thunderstorm on Dixie Mountain. We didn't even know each other were there. And
Out of John Day or where?
Out of John Day, yeah, up on Dixie. And
Yeah.
I was hunting this big long ridge by myself, and this lightning storm came in, and it scared the hell out of me, to be honest with you. It was just pounding around me. So I took my bow and went and put it under a tree off over there. And then I went and hit. I was like, that tree's never been struck by lightning, so I'll be fine there. Everyone else was torched.
Yeah.
So I went and got under that tree, and then that storm finally passed after about 15 minutes, and I came wandering back out to get my bow, and there's Kevin.
Really?
I was like, that was some crazy. So we became great friends after that and had done it all over. But super good elk hunter.
Yeah. Well, so are you. And yeah, I mean, like I said, if you've killed 40 bulls.
Somewhere in that range, yeah.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
and
bull.
now we're getting into hunting with kids.
I know.
Just a ball, man.
Yeah.
Super cool.
But don't you think, like, when I think of small town Oregon, and I've said it on here before, and, a lot of different type of people listen to this, not all small town Oregon type people, but to us, or how I grew up, you can speak to it yourself, but the guys who killed bulls, well, I didn't know anybody who really killed a bull with a bow at that time when I came up. But if you could kill a big buck or a bull, I don't care how, you were like legend. I mean, that's who the kids wanted to be. Like, oh, did you hear this guy got this giant blacktail, or this guy killed a bull? It's like where we grew up, being an elk hunter, or even if you kill a good bull with a bow rifle, that meant something.
Totally. Still does to me.
It still does to me too. But it's like, no, that meant not just something. That meant everything. Yeah. I didn't give a about anything else.
No.
At first, before I hunted elk, it was a big blacktail. That was just like all I cared about. Giant blacktail. Well, maybe not even giant. Just like chasing, just like a big 4x4.
They were giant to us then.
To us, yeah. And then I killed that bull in 89, that spike bull, got the tag over there. And then it was just like, God, could you imagine if you killed a 6x6 bull with your bow? So then that was like obsession. But the point is like, to us in small town where we grew up, that's all there was.
There was nothing else. And I felt like I'm a pretty analytical person as time has gone on. And like, I always think about what separates good hunters from average hunters or, weekend casual hunters. And it's a really interesting thought, because I've always thought every good hunter I know is crazy competitive. Like, generally a past athlete, they're just vicious in life in general. But the biggest key that I've seen, I think, is they all grew up in that environment. They grew up killing things. They grew up watching animal behavior. You're always in the mix of it. And I don't think you learn that stuff overnight. And you might not even know you're learning it at that time, but you're taking it all in.
Yeah.
I've hunted with a million people, and I'm like, why didn't you move?
Yeah.
And they're like, I didn't know I could. It was rubbing a tree, or whatever the situation was. It's just, they don't understand
a million
behavior.
little things.
Yeah.
It's and I've taken a lot of people out too, and newer hunters and stuff like that. And it's just like, you forget how much you know until you take somebody who doesn't know anything, and then you're like explaining. It's like, no, you can't step on that. You can't. Do you hear your pants? Or
that's one of my favorite stories of yours. They're my pants doing that?
Oh, well, James just heard that that was another cameraman. But yeah, James just heard that like first person experience in Utah this year.
Lucky you, James.
Yeah. But you know what else? So you talk about all the good hunters you've met have all been that small town, kind of maybe learned and didn't realize they're learning just to this experience. You know what else because I think about this shit a lot too. And people don't talk about this, or I haven't heard it, but the best hunters I know are smart. Like, and hunters usually aren't, hunters and smart usually are like oil and water.
Yeah.
It's just like, what? No, he's a hunter, but I thought you said he was smart. How does that happen? No, but like when I think of Roy, when I think of, you, Kevin, it's like, or if I'm with anybody who's got it done, they are smart, because you got to look at the situation. You look at the factors that weigh in. You're making decisions based on that. You're making assumptions based on that, and it all has to like work to get within bow range. And you're looking at the weather, you're looking at the wind. Like, we had this time, you're out, the wind's this way, but then, a dark cloud comes over, it changes the wind for a second, or a plane comes over and you're like, I'm going to use that sound to close in on this. So it's like all these little things that like weigh in on these decisions you're making. And you have to be, I don't know how to explain it other than you have to be smart about what you're doing.
If you're going to be consistently good.
Yeah. You can get lucky.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can get lucky. But, and I think that kind of gets missed because hunters aren't generally thought about, being intelligent. But the guys I know,
pretty good dudes.
They can put shit together. Using Grizzly coolers over the past few hunts, I've been so impressed with their American-made brand that I decided to do a Keep Hammering line of coolers with them. The coolers are now available to purchase at grizzlycoolers.com/keephammering. And if you use code KEEPHAMMERING, you get 20% off anything you purchase. These coolers are proudly made in Decorah, Iowa, and everything is superior quality. I wouldn't use anything but the best, because keeping my harvest clean and cold on the way to the processor is at the utmost importance. They are actually called Grizzly coolers because they are put through bear resistance testing and are certified to provide optimum safety, durability, and performance in the most extreme conditions. So go get the best coolers available at grizzlycoolers.com and use code KEEPHAMMERING for 20% off at checkout. One of my favorite packages that I get on a monthly basis is a Black Rifle Coffee Club exclusive coffee roast. The only way you can get it is if you subscribe to the Coffee Club. The exclusive Coffee Club subscription gives you nothing but the best. It's a Coffee of the Month club where you get premium roasts from the best farms worldwide. Black Rifle Coffee is America's coffee. It's veteran owned and operated. They support hunting and conservation and give back immensely to the veteran community. They're offering followers of the podcast 20% off on your first purchase to the Coffee Club, or order on their site using code KEEPHAMMERING to get America's coffee today.
I've always looked at the woods, and I talk to my son about this all the time, or people we hunt with. The woods have just been a big giant puzzle to me my whole life. And you find pieces that go together. Now, you're never going to piece all the puzzle together, but you get a pretty good picture of what's going on when you've been through it so many times, and you're observant.
Yeah.
Many people go into the woods for fun, and maybe they're serious hunters, but they're not connecting dots.
Yeah.
And once you start connecting those dots, elk hunting's very easy.
Yeah, there's a lot of tendencies.
Totally.
That you can, it's just going to affect decisions you make. And then when the animals haven't really changed much.
Probably at all.
They're going to be about the same forever.
Correct.
And so we can change, we can learn, we can adapt if you do it right.
And if you want to be good.
And then you take advantage of the chinks in their armor, where they make mistakes.
And I've probably learned more about elk behavior out of elk season than even during the season. I remember I used to go spook elk just to see where they went, because I knew they were going to get spooked.
Yeah.
as soon as
Yeah.
hunting season came around.
Right.
And then I'd go wait where they're going to be spooked
Yeah.
or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But, or using different calls, and people are using different sounds, different sequences, different, pace and rhythms, and just always tried to really stay ahead of what people were doing, so it worked.
Yeah. Well, any animal that gets hunted gets used to being pressured from, humans are pretty predictable. So an animal's going to pick up on that for sure. I mean, I even noticed that, like, if you're looking at a logging unit, like we're here in logging country, and you look at this unit, everybody pulls up to this landing, everybody looks at this the same way. But as well as I do, there's folds in that country. Those bucks know where they can be seen, where they can't be seen.
Yep.
So if you walk over down a ridge where you can get a different angle on it, there's might be a giant buck right there.
And very rarely can you see everything.
Oh yeah,
From one place.
right. But people, they want easy.
Totally.
So they're not walking 300 yards down a spine ridge in repod.
No, and most people can make it pretty easy with a gun,
Yeah.
especially in that country. You can go glass up deer and
Yeah.
take one or whatever. Elk's a little different. I mean, I've always said rifle elk hunting in that country, you have about 5 minutes of a plan, and then it all goes to hell.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you're just getting lucky
For
after
sure.
that.
Yeah. What, so you said you think about what makes a good hunter, but what's led to your success? Do you think just that time in the woods and just being comfortable out there?
I think much like you, Cam, I didn't give a about anything else for a long, long time of my life.
Yeah.
If I was doing it, it was to get better at elk hunting.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Right.
My weekends consisted of being in the woods or going and meeting up with buddies to go check out new areas, or I lived it. And when you do that, you sacrifice a lot of other things in life.
Yeah.
But you get pretty good at elk hunting.
Yeah. I've screwed up a lot of other things, but not elk hunting.
Nope.
I still look at like what I do to just chase this elk hunting dream every year, and I'm just like, God, I'm going to probably look back and regret how much time and money maybe I've spent. It doesn't feel like I'm going to, but maybe. To me, like you, I don't care about anything else though. So I don't know what I'd regret it for.
No, I mean, I'll never regret anything elk hunting. I'll regret not going on a trip.
Yeah.
And but you life has different phases, like raising kids, that takes a ton of time.
Yeah.
Marriage, just making things right. But I've never put hunting on the back burner. I think my wife could agree to that now. When it's hunting season, like, I don't do anything until I kill an elk.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never will.
I love it. Yeah. I just don't think, social media is kind of weird. There's a lot of people who want to, we're so lucky to grow up the way we did. And maybe at the time, I always say when I was growing up, I didn't feel lucky. I was just like,
Yeah.
whatever. It's like it. But now looking back, I see all these guys who want to be elk hunters or have a dream of killing a bull or wanting these opportunities like that we've chased. And they're like starting, 30 years later than we did. And I'm like,
And you'll
wow,
never catch up.
It'd be so hard to learn from ground zero right now.
And I think a difference now in when we started, like, I could go back to when I started hunting elk, and I literally knew nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
remember a dude in our town, probably the only archery hunter, and I idolized him. He actually gave me my first bow.
See, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the kind of guys that we look up to.
But I remember he came home one day, and he was my neighbor. And his kid was like a year or two older than me. And he's like, "Hey, my dad shot an elk today." And I walked over there, and his son, who had hunted with him a bunch, so I thought he knew a ton about elk hunting, grabbed the arrow and like smelled it. And he's like, "That's a giant bull."
Jeez.
I was like, "Holy cow, these guys are brilliant." And turns out it was a cow. But I didn't know
But at
any
that time,
better.
it sounded good.
Yeah, I was like, "Holy
Freaking
these guys
legend.
know everything."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you can learn a lot.
Yeah. I was looking at this today, like, so
That's what it was.
one of my buddies gave me this, and so we talk about like we didn't know anything, but also equipment, dude. Today, I don't know how we killed anything really, but this is exactly kind of what I shot right here, but not with the feathers, but a 2314 with the Thunderhead. You see that 125
I remember
on there?
the Thunderheads.
Yeah.
And I definitely used these big arrows.
Way too light.
Oh, my word.
I mean, that is the worst. This weighs like, it feels like it weighs 200 grains.
But I bet it's not 300 with the broadhead on it.
It feels so light. And this is what we used. So our bows sounded like a 22 going off.
Yeah.
It's so,
And they were louder anyway.
yeah, louder anyway. And then, so they sound like a 22, but also went slow as hell. So you're not even gaining anything really, but this is what we had to get it done with, which nowadays, like I shoot, I don't know what you shoot, you can tell me, but like a 491 grain arrow with, I've been shooting Grim Reaper. So it's like 2.75 inches a cut, which that's a big hole to try to push through an elk. But if you shoot heavy poundage with a heavy arrow, it works, right?
Yeah.
What are you shooting?
I shoot those VAPs. They're heavy with some added weight to the front.
How heavy is it total? Do you know?
Like 480, I believe.
Yeah, that hits hard.
Yep. And I went to an 80-pound bow just for that because I'm always calling elk by myself.
Oh, so frontals. Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I can get through.
Yeah. And that's I mean, the drawback to by yourself, those bulls are coming right to you. So if you can't make that frontal shot, a light arrow might not get through there, but a heavy arrow has a lot better chance.
It's gonna, genuinely.
Yeah. And so you probably shoot a fixed blade head then.
I do.
Yeah.
Yep. I've shot those VPA, no welded broadhead. They're much like the Montex were.
Yeah.
But just a solid piece.
And so how many bulls do you think you've killed frontal?
Probably half.
Really?
Yeah.
Half of those 40?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not supposed to take frontals.
I know. I've heard that. and can something go wrong? Of course.
Yeah.
But I've also, truth be known, the first branch antlered bull I ever killed, I was like 14. And I didn't know you're supposed to check your gear, and I didn't know you were supposed to sight in broadheads. Didn't know they would shoot differently.
Yeah.
I just thought you screwed them on, and away we go.
They weighed the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had gone out in Coquille, actually, and blew on my bugle, and I heard one, and I heard crashing coming to me, and I thought, oh, this is awesome. Well, I came to full draw, walks out at about 12 yards, quartered to me. Didn't know you're not supposed to shoot that anyway. So I put it behind his shoulder and squeezed the trigger. Well, I shot about a foot left, and I hit it perfect frontal.
Oh, that hardly ever works that way.
And I'm not kidding you. That bull was like, bam, took about 3 steps, fell over dead.
Whoa.
And I was like,
that worked.
That's not where I wanted to hit it, but
I'll take it.
Yeah. So I registered that away, and then as time went on, a lot of opportunities came of real close. And in the Oregon coast, I agree. Don't take frontals at any kind of distance, really, or be sure of what you're doing. But the frontals I'm talking about are like 6-7 yards.
Yeah. And where do you aim usually?
I don't aim center. I aim off to a side.
Right, in between the shoulder blade and the sternum, kind of.
And treat it just like a quartering away shot from the other side. I mean, you're just aiming at the other side of their body is how I've always done it.
Yeah.
And it's super effective.
Yeah. I always want broadside or quartering away, of course, but just a couple of years ago, I had one charge in on me, just like you said, 2 yards, put it like right where you said. And I killed another one in the eagle cap where I went like in this hole.
Yeah. Right where the color changes, kind of?
Yeah. And it's just, that came out its ass from the front, and that bull didn't go anywhere. So it can work.
It not only did it not go, like literally didn't go anywhere.
No, didn't take a step. It's like, oh. Yeah. It was. It's devastating. But also you have to know where you're holding. You have to be calm. Totally. Can't be punching the trigger because you're off by a couple inches on a shot like that.
game over.
No, you're wounding that bull.
Yeah.
So it's not for everybody, for sure.
No, I don't think so. I mean, know your own limits. You know, and when you get in those situations, it's tough to keep it together.
Mm-hmm. A bull coming in right to you.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people not perform in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had just a simple little routine I go through in my mind, but I get nervous.
What is it?
I pull my hat brim down and I never look at their antlers. Once I decide I'm shooting, I'm off. I make sure I can see their eyeballs, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. That's it.
And that's worked.
Good strategy.
Well.
And then pick a spot, or do you think about anything like that?
You know, I would like to say I'm better at that than I am, because normally they're pretty close,
Yeah.
and I'm just burying that pin in the middle of them.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm like trying to be super accurate,
Yeah, like a longer shot.
I'm going to pick air.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Many times, I mean, when you're shooting that bull at right here,
Yeah.
now I would lose it on that bull. A little different ballgame. They're usually like 5 points.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, going down to Arizona changes things for sure on stuff, but they die the same if you hit them good.
They sure do.
Yeah.
They sure do. And I mean, from what I've seen from Rockies, I don't have a ton of experience hunting them, probably 5 or 6, 7 trips, but I love hunting them because of the terrain, first of all, and then the pack out.
Yeah.
They're like half the size.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that ranch bull, I think we, like hanging, it was 500 and some
It was
pounds.
over 500, I remember.
Yeah, it's a
Didn't
lot.
it? Or was that Wartnock's bull that won the Portland one? Like hanging meat? Remember he was
Something
talking
like
about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you get, I mean, over 400 pounds is huge.
Yeah.
Of quartered meat.
Oh, yeah.
Giant.
But 500? Yeah, it's nuts.
Oh, those hams were well over 100.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's huge. You hear people say, oh, I had 100-pound hams. No, it didn't.
No. People say a lot of crazy stuff. Yeah. So how many points do you have for elk?
Not many.
Oh,
Not
God. Well, I got 23.
Ooh.
So one of these days I'm going to actually draw a
Are
tag.
you going to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I've always drawn powers when I could.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you never put in for Winahar or anything like that?
Nope.
Yeah, because I know Kevin one time had, was it Mount Emily?
Walla Walla.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. Him and Blake.
They both killed. I think we had that article in Eastman's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 giant bulls. And that was even, I mean, again, going back, Kevin was a legend to me because he was killing all these giant bulls. But Kevin had figured out where to hunt and play the states game far before anyone I knew.
Yeah, he was early in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he killed some great bulls. I drew one tag in the Mount Emily in the random draw when I was teaching at Nestucca. So that was 20 plus years ago. And I drew it, I think, with 3 points.
Oh.
And I shot the first 6 point I saw.
Yeah.
I was like, that thing's giant.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was super excited.
Was he like 300?
No, it was like 270.
Whatever.
Big to me, man.
Oh, I mean, that Eagle Cat Bowl, it was like 275, and that was giant for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny how life progresses, huh?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's all good. Well, I was telling these guys earlier about, remember when we got our ass kicked in Nevada?
Yeah, I do.
And then Remi's brother shot that buck out from under us. Do you know that's who that was? Remi Warren?
No way. I didn't know that.
Remember that tent?
Yeah.
Right where we were
Yep.
hunting that
Yep.
big non-typical?
Yep.
That was Remi.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they were like, he said they grew up there, like kind of hunting there. He's from Reno.
Yeah.
And the car we had, rental car, was at the trailhead. He said, what? And who is back here? And then he saw my name on
the paperwork or something?
bow case or something like that
gotcha.
in the car. And he was just like, God dang it. And then we go back and we're hunting the exact same buck.
Yep.
And then they killed it.
Oh, man. That was a tough trip.
Yeah, there wasn't a ton of deer back there.
Very little. And I had hunted Nevada a few times
Yeah.
at that point, and every time I had gone to Nevada, I was like, holy cow, this is like the holy grail.
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing $20-$30 a day.
And the rubies were loaded.
Awesome.
Yeah, I killed bucks there, and it's like, yeah. What we did get was sunburned,
bad.
I remember your ear and neck.
I think I sent you that picture like 4 years ago. Somehow I came across it maybe on an old camera or something. Remember my ears got like an inch thick, burned and cracked and were bleeding. And then the hole in the back of my hat. It's like all scabbed.
Yeah.
Gross.
We'll put on some miles on that trip.
That was horrible. Do you remember, what I remember most about that trip was, first of all, I couldn't stomach another MRE. Like, it made me gagged.
But your sick photo of me on that rock.
That was sweet. That was sweet.
That was good.
But you remember that little spot we found where there were thousands of arrowheads?
Oh,
When we were looking down into that big basin, and you could tell, like,
they sat there
and just chipped arrowheads.
Yeah.
And I, like, broke one, threw it on the ground.
Yeah.
And there were hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Never encountered anything like that
Me
in my
neither.
life. That was really cool.
No, that was super, super cool country, but big.
Giant.
Yeah. We saw sheep up there, didn't we? Wasn't there a bunch of sheep?
Like hundreds of them.
Yeah. So many sheep.
I remember at one point you're like, because we've been talking, I said, Cam, I think we hiked above all the deer. And you're like, no, I think they're on that mountain over there. And I was like, oh, let's go.
Yeah, it was a grind, but yeah, that was a tough year too. That was when my dad died. I think right before that,
Like the day before we left.
it was a rough one. It was a rough one, but that was also the year we killed the ranch bull.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, same year. So
Yeah, that was fun.
yeah,
Super fun.
we made the most of it.
Yeah, that was really probably one of the first like backpacking hunts I had gone on.
Oh, really?
Extended.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that was legit. Now,
Oh, man.
now, like, what's been your best hunt lately?
Oh man, definitely my best hunt lately has been hunting with my son.
Yeah,
Archery hunt. It's
killing bulls.
Killing
He's
bulls.
already killing bulls.
Dude, yeah. Last year he was 12 years old, shooting like 54 pounds or something crazy. He was just, hadn't gone through puberty, nothing. He was just a midget.
Yeah.
And called him in like a nice 5-point bull. And he's like from here to your weight bench from me, so I can watch everything he does. But we were on this little break. I was trying to get this bull to come up and see me.
Yeah.
And, I hung up right under him, and I watched him draw his bow, calm as could be. And I was like, holy shit. And I heard it hit. I said, buddy, was it a good shot? Because you don't know what
No.
a 12-year-old
No, they see what they want to
Yeah,
see.
Yeah. I said, was it a good shot? And he said, Dad, there's blood all over its side. And it ran off, and I caught a little glimpse of him, and he was wobbling. I was like, ooh, I think this is
a good
game
sign.
over. So we let him, I said, let's give him about an hour, bud. We'll just hang out here. And I've never seen this in my life before. Probably 15 minutes after he shot that bull, there was a bunch of crows circling him.
That fast.
That fast. And I
Could they
said,
see
what do you
him?
think those are doing, dude?
Yeah. Could they see him or smell him?
I would assume see him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I didn't know they go off vision either.
Yeah.
necessarily.
That's fast.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm pretty sure that bull's laying there dead, bud. Why don't you hike down there and check it out? Oh, man, I got video of that kid recovering that bull. That was probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
I bet.
It was awesome. So then this year I was off hunting in Idaho, and we had a pretty big bull, 303, hanging out within the vicinity of my house.
Yeah.
So we have 6 or 7 stands hung up, and now he's 13, playing football, so his time's kind of limited. He can run home back and forth, but he called me in Idaho. He's like, Dad, I just shot that big bull. And I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? And I said, was it a good hit? He said, I think I hit it perfect. And I was like, well, have you looked for it yet? No. Should I? And I'm like, what else are you going to do, buddy? And turns out that bull only went about 40 yards from where he hit it.
It's a 303 bull.
303, Rosie.
Oh my God.
13 years old. I said, buddy, that's better.
You're done.
Bigger than anything I've ever killed in my life.
You're done.
Second bull. I'm like,
Wow.
holy cow. And it's awesome because he's a full-blown addict.
Really? That's so fun.
We can cater to that addiction.
Yeah. That's amazing. I don't think there's anything. I mean, people talk about it all the time, but that is about as good as it gets.
For me, it is for sure.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool to see your kids take on your passion and then start putting their own efforts into getting better at it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because like most kids, to get that passion going, you got to kind of make them go. Like
Absolutely.
most kids don't want to go be miserable in the mountains for whatever. Get up early. So you hope that you expose them to it, and then in time they'll develop this. They love to do it.
Yeah.
But it's cool that your son, second year, two bulls with the
He's
bow.
like, this is easy.
Well, that had me thinking. Well, that's awesome for him. Yeah, shout out to him for incredible animal. But you said you called in the first bull for him. Like what? I'm just curious. What's your key to calling in bulls? What do you think?
Oh,
Why are you good at it?
You're gonna get me going on a tangent here, Cam.
Okay.
So
You just got to buy a nice dinner.
I'm going to go against that whole smart theory we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
Because, over the last couple of years, you have so many resources on elk.
Yeah.
And calling elk and this, that, and the other thing. And I know a lot of the dudes super well that talk about it, and they're all very bright people. I also think people way overcomplicate calling elk. And particularly if you could see elk to work them, that's a whole different ballgame. But I've always just looked at elk calling kind of like fishing, to be honest. And if you're fishing and you're using a rooster tail and it's not working, you're going to change to a Panther Martin or whatever the case may be. And I've always done that.
Thomas lure.
Correct. Yeah. Steely, whatever the case may be. So I always kind of start with just super mild calf cow calls, and if I get them responding to that, that's what I stay with. If nothing bites on that, I get a little more aggressive, then continue to get a little more aggressive, maybe throwing some raking, some rattling, some whatever the case may be. I started rattling bulls several years ago just because no one was doing it.
And it works?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I've picked up antlers, just this year. I picked up an antler and gave it to Truett. He was with you in Utah with me, and I'm just like, start doing this, because we rake branches on trees,
Totally.
but if you can have an antler, now we're talking.
Yep.
Because those
Yep.
bulls can tell the difference.
Yep. I actually had a buddy boil out a shoulder blade.
Oh, okay.
And that's what he packs with him to rub trees.
It's a lot lighter and smaller.
Yep, and it sounds
has
just
that
like
bone,
an antler.
That bone sound.
Yep.
Yeah, it's but I do think that is also being smart. Like it is, because I think we get stuck in, it worked one time, has to keep working, right? It's going to work every time. And that's not how it works. It's these animals are in different moods, different things happen, different encounters that they experience, maybe got their ass kicked, and everybody talks about this too, but you can't always predict the mood or what happened previously for that animal. So,
and it's different daily.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, it's the weather that day could be different, and it's affecting how these animals are behaving. But I was just curious because I know you've called in a lot. And okay, so on that note, what calls do you like? What do you prefer?
I use a lot of reed calls.
Like a brand? Do you have a favorite brand?
Corey sends them all to me.
Yeah.
So they're Elk 101,
right?
Rocky Mountain Elk calls from what they used to be. If I'm going to use a bite and blow call, this is crazy, but I love that Primos Hyper Lip single. I can do so many different things with that, and have really got comfortable. Actually, Born and Raised came out with a call last year. I don't know the name of it. I have it, and now it's my favorite call, without question.
I like the Cowgirl. It's just that same old.
That's that bite and blow one, right?
That is, yeah. And it's just like, I prefer not to call. I prefer to kill them when they never know I'm even alive.
Yeah.
And sneak in there, get an arrow in them.
And you're very good at that.
Yeah.
See, and I would prefer not to kill an elk unless it came into the call.
Oh, you just love calling them in.
I love calling them in.
Yeah. And that's, hey, whatever works.
Yeah.
It's worked
just
for
exciting.
You. Yeah. There's nothing more exciting,
No,
arguably,
no.
than a bull coming in.
But you also blow a lot of setups just from vocalizing and giving your position away.
Well, and I said this the other day, and I said, all I know, and it's not like I'm obsessed with like the biggest bull ever, but I just know, like, if I'm going someplace very special, like, San Carlos or whatever, and there is a giant bull, I have a better chance of killing it without making a noise.
100%.
That one bull.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If I'm after one bull.
Yeah. I think that's probably true with any mature bull.
Yeah. It's just, they've seen a lot. Yeah. They've heard a lot.
Especially in today's day and age.
Yeah, definitely. So it's, I think you can, I said this the other day, you can definitely call in and kill bulls for sure. I mean, calling has killed so many bulls, but if you're after one, I was talking to Casey Brooks about this the other day. He killed that giant one, and he was in a blind for that one. But those giant old bulls, man, and what was I? Oh no, this was with bucks, and I'm wondering if bulls are the same. But I was hunting down in Texas, and they say, like, they let those bucks get to. Sorry, I got bulls on my mind, but now I'm talking bucks. But they let those bucks get to 7.5 or 8.5 years old, which is
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, to me, a 4-year-old is mature, right? But what happens is those animals, they rut hard, 5, 6, and then they get older. They don't rut.
Oh, really?
They just want to eat, and so they get bigger. Mm-hmm. Like they're
not burning stuff.
They're not wasting calories chasing does around fighting bucks. Yep. And I wonder, like that bull Casey just killed, I wonder if it got to 490 because it's not rutting hard.
Could be.
It's not breaking antlers. Yeah. It's not wasting energy chasing stuff around.
Well, what's your experience like with big bulls at the San Carlos? Are you seeing them? Are they rutting hard, or are those big monarchs off by themselves some of the time?
Well, like that one was by itself this year. That big one I killed.
That's huge.
Tight bull came into a cow call. This bull, I didn't make a noise. I snuck it. He's 398, and I just was in the middle of that herd, and he followed a cow by, but had no idea I was there. That bull came to a cow call by himself. So I haven't seen him. I can't speak.
By himself.
By himself. By himself. Yeah, nuts. So I've seen a lot of bulls there. I haven't seen giants, and somebody will prove me wrong, and that's fine. But yeah, I haven't seen the giants pushing around a big herd. Mm-hmm. But maybe it's just I haven't seen them.
I would assume
that bull in Utah was by himself. That one on that pedestal, yeah. That other bull on the floor is by himself with the skull that leaning up against it. So it's like, I don't know. If I think about it now, that bull over there under the Hoy sign by himself.
That's crazy. Do you think the competition in those areas is good enough to keep a bull like that from having a herd? Or being the ranch bull mentality of like, I don't care if you come around, I'll whip your ass.
I think they'll get a hot cow and take her.
Yep.
And push her off into a hole, breed her, go get another one. I don't think they need to be around a herd.
It's interesting you say that because I've always had that theory about big Roosevelts. Like you'll never, very rarely will you see a big Roosevelt just running with a herd of elk. I truly believe they wait on herds of elk in the timber, take what they want, and then let them go.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it till talking to you and like looking at these now. But that one giant Roosevelt too, that, it's not here right now, but you wanted to look at, the herd was out there and I didn't even know he was even around. He never made a noise. And I just looked over on the timberline and I was like, oh my God. But he wasn't rutting, didn't make a noise.
Really?
So I don't know if he was just hanging around waiting for a cow to come in, but.
Dude, there's elk in that country that I don't think have been seen by people.
I don't think that one had.
I know that one had.
Because that logging country, they're going to see every bull.
And I'm going to hear about a bull like that.
I bet.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
A 355 7x9. How does he sneak through?
Where has he been for the past 7 years?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was talking to a buddy who guides on the Eckley side of that.
Yeah.
And he said that bull had been over there.
Really?
That year.
Oh.
So they were after him a little bit. And
is that Spoon Creek?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Ross.
So they had seen him.
Ross had seen him, yeah.
What did he think of him?
I mean, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even think people believe you when you say you see a bull.
Probably not. Oh, right. Yeah, you saw a 350.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure you did. Well, because normally, like a 290, like we said earlier, is giant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you would, if anybody did say that, you'd be like, Yeah, no. And, yeah, so I always thought like in that country, you know, for the national forest land up there,
like into that Rusty Butte
that's
country.
big timber.
Oh,
Could they be
brutal.
up there? Could they be up there living?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that stuff doesn't get touched. I mean, the access to some of that stuff, especially during fire season, you're not getting in there. But it's so rugged and remote. I remember there used to be a gold miner that lived back there, and we used to ride our motorcycles way out sixes, and somehow my mom and dad knew him. And then we would hike in like 3 miles to his cabin. And that was some of the roughest country I've ever seen.
Is that like, where's Johnson Mountain? Is that up that way?
So when you turn out to sixes, if you went straight right there, that goes up on Johnson.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But if you went out to like, I think it's like 4,200 and then turned left, that would take you up into all that bluffy, rusty butte stuff.
Oh, I see.
It's like probably the headwaters of the sixes.
Okay. Well,
isn't that Avery Mountain back in that country?
yeah, I think that is. Yeah,
I think so.
That's
I just
Avery
remembered
Mountain.
his name.
Yeah. Old Jake killed a good buck this year. Do you see it?
A crazy one.
Yeah.
I said, where'd that thing come from, dude?
I know. He was all excited.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
I bet.
That was pretty awesome. And somebody was telling me, like, yeah, Jake, he won't kill any big ones now. He wants them for his grandkids, and he'll just kill a forkador now. And then it's like, wait, I thought, what happened to this forkador stuff? Well, there's limits to everything, right?
Yeah. You see a buck like that there, you
see
better shoot
I
it.
think it was a 6x5.
It was something wild.
Yeah.
And not only that, there's never been that genetic around there.
Yeah.
Where did that?
The extra tines.
Where'd that thing come from?
I know. Normally down there, like, you know, a good 3x3, 3x4, 4x4, but throwing extras?
Dude, yeah. That was mind blowing to see that.
Yeah.
Super cool for him.
Well, I mean, we're already getting late. You're on a work night. I'm retired, so I don't have to do anything. But how's the North Douglas Warriors doing in football this year?
They actually, football team lost in the state championship.
They did.
They did. Yeah.
They made the
made
championship
finals,
game.
yeah.
Dang.
And I'm coaching girls basketball still.
Okay. How are you guys?
We lost in the state championship last year, and I thought this year would be an interesting year. We brought in like 10 new girls.
Where'd they come from?
Just underclassmen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Many of them were on varsity last year, just didn't get a ton of playing time. My daughter's actually a senior this year, and my stepdaughter's a sophomore, so there's a good little investment in the program. But we actually just knocked off the number 1 seeded team in the state Monday night.
Really?
Yeah, so we're rolling right now.
Whoa.
I'm not sure how with this group, but we're getting her done.
Yeah. So what's your record?
Right now, I think we're 13-3.
Okay.
But we lost 2 top 5 ranked 3A schools, and doing pretty well.
And are you guys 2A, 1A? 1A. Okay.
Yep,
and you're playing 3A.
Yeah, we play up every
Were you
once in a while.
competitive?
Yeah, we lost by 1 and actually by 16.
Okay.
So
yeah. And then what was the other loss?
Our other loss was a loss that shouldn't have been. We lost a private school, and it was early before we kind of gelled and got things figured out.
Now you're kind of clicking a little
Now
bit?
we're clicking. I think we'd get that one back by 20 now.
Yeah.
I think so.
Beat the number 1 team on Monday.
We did, yeah.
At home or there?
At home.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I bet. Was everybody fired up?
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Was it a close game?
5, I think we won by.
Okay.
Yeah. Super low scoring game. I think it was actually like 31-25, just a defensive battle.
Were you taking the air out of the ball, trying to slow it down? How come it's so slow?
Well, I think
because sometimes like if the team you're playing is better, you want to limit those possessions.
Absolutely.
Right. So was it just?
I thought both of us left quite a few points on the table. I mean, at the end of the day, it is girls basketball.
Yeah.
There's going to be some things not go. But I thought both teams did a really good job of just kind of muddying up the key and forcing everything out, and then it was
Making them earn
a
it.
rebounding battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you, what type of coach are you? Like, got to better play defense or you're not on the court? Or
That is what we do.
really?
And we play it baseline to baseline all game
40
long.
minutes of hell.
Yep.
Well, I don't know.
Rotate about
is it 40 or 32?
32.
Okay,
Yeah.
32 minutes of hell.
We rotate, 9 kids or so, and just keep a lot of pressure on people all game long.
Yeah. You hit any threes?
We do. We have a very good shooting team.
Oh, good.
In that game, we only hit 2, actually.
Oh,
But generally, we hit quite a few.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, most people zone us.
Yeah.
You shoot them right out of that.
There you go. It doesn't take, I mean, hey, dump it into the big girl, then she kicks it out. Usually you're open.
Yep. So if you move the ball,
Move the ball.
yep. Keep spacing.
So are you guys going to win the state championship?
No, I wouldn't go on record saying that, but I would say we could beat anyone in the 1A level.
Oh,
For
so
sure.
it's just having
Stay healthy, get a little bit lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the mix.
Oh, that's
For
awesome.
Sure, for sure.
That's awesome.
We have we've been to Baker for the last 5 years straight.
That's so fun, isn't it?
It's a great environment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool, Cam, because that's like all the small towns.
I
coming
know.
together. It's wild. You used to go over there all the
Yeah.
time.
Well, that was like, that's probably the biggest thing I miss about like Tanner being in high school.
yeah.
Because going to Baker was, and those kids are good.
Dude.
It's a small school. Like it's a small school tournament, but you only need 5 players.
100%.
And small schools can produce 5 good players.
Well, and I was just talking to a longtime coach that's been around 1A girls basketball forever. I've only been doing it for 6 years at North Douglas. And I said, first of all, it's kind of amazing to me we're competing with that level of team this year with what we brought back and have. And he said, honestly, there's just not an elite team this year. And for the past 6, 7, 8 years, there's been that elite team that's going up and beating the 3 and 4A state champs.
Yeah.
I mean, Crane's had a run in girls basketball that's been phenomenal, and we'll go beat Baker, and Baker will win the 4A state title or be a semifinal team.
Wow.
So some real good small school basketball. And I feel like this year it's kind of leveled out a little bit of, okay, this is what it should be.
Well, all I remember, Baker, it's still at Baker, right? Yeah. So, like when Tanner was there, I remember they played Powder Valley maybe in the state championship. But, there's, I don't know what the gym holds, a couple thousand maybe.
Yeah, I would
and then
assume.
they had an overflow gym with the game on that
monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is wild.
And it gets wild there. It's
It is
super cool.
Loud. I don't know. It's amazing.
Mel grew up playing in Pendleton, which is the 2A state tournament. And so we always debate which one's better. But I've always said Baker's super cool. First of all, growing up in Powers, that's the only thing I knew.
Yeah.
So if we got to make a 9-hour drive to Baker to play basketball, that was cool.
Yeah.
But I think they used to do a better job. But, the businesses in town all adopt a team. And then you're running into other teams everywhere you go. It's just
Yeah.
a cool environment. It's
Yeah.
usually snowing, which it's raining here. And
Yeah. No, we used to love making that trip over there. And Mohawk, when Tanner was there, they lost in the state championship and then got one third. And then I don't know what happened the other time, but
you made it over there several.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
is tough to do.
Yeah. Yeah. The one year, when Cord was,
I remember that year.
yeah, he got hurt in football and then came back for basketball. They were number 1 all year, won like 15 in a row, and then got over there. But Powder Valley, man, they had just big 6'6". I don't know where this, and then some freshman or sophomore, like I remember back-to-back dunks, like
wow.
just stole it twice. And Powder Valley's right there. So
25. I practiced there when we go there.
So it's a little hometown.
Yep.
Gym going crazy.
They bring a crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wild.
It was pretty nuts. But yeah, it's for small town, that's all that matters at that time.
It's a big stage for a small town kid.
Yeah. And like I'll just mention it real quick, but where you came from, Powers, somehow had a girl that came out of there who was a state all-time state leading scorer for a while.
Jenny
Mo, yeah. I mean, how insane. And then played, I think, in the WNBA.
And you know what's cool about that? Yeah, she did. So Jenny was a year behind me in school. So I went to school with Jenny from first grade through high school.
Gotcha.
And she did, I think she's like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, she's big.
They won a state title. Then she went and played for the Ducks.
And Ron was a coach.
I don't know if
you knew that.
Yeah, I did know that. Sure did.
Yeah.
And then she played for the Ducks for 4 years and then went and played in the WNBA. And now you know where she is?
Huh.
She owns a bakery in Baker.
Oh.
So every year we go to Baker, we go see Jenny.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Super cool.
What a story, though, I mean, Powers is such a small town.
Yeah.
To make it to the WNBA. I mean, that's
pretty amazing, actually.
That is.
Yeah.
I mean.
And now she's probably the best baker in Oregon, man.
Is she?
Her place is unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Off the charts good.
Well, she's good at basketball and baking.
Yeah, she's big.
That's awesome.
And she's so cool. She always takes a picture with our team and still visits, and just nice lady.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Super
cool. Yeah. Well, Jody, thank you. I mean, I just wanted to sit and talk a little bow hunting with you. I figured didn't even plan on being here, and here you are.
Yeah.
Talked to bow hunting and
cool. It was fun. I've never done this before.
Wow, you're great.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, like I said, I have a lot of respect for you as a bow hunter. You've been, got it done for decades, more success than almost anybody I know, public land, Oregon. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of respect. And it's an honor to have you on here to talk bow hunting, because we've shared tough hunts together, shared success together, been friends for a long time. So thank you very much.
Appreciate it, man.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Every step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use every comment, hate that makes my feel. Gather up my energy and boom. I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with. Giving my blood, so I am relentless. My fault, they want someone to blame. They sent their hate, it fuels my pace. I am Roy Tough, I am the change, the few endure. Feeling like Cam Haynes. Oh, give me the Mars, nobody wants.